Okay. Hey, Sebastian. Did this start? Hey there. I forgot to remove my video. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Let me just switch to the correct view. So you have already preview for the interview that will start in 5 minutes, I think. But there we are for the second show. I'm still so excited, still a bit nervous. You can probably see that. I had that as feedback. Everyone said, Sebi, it's great. But yeah, we can feel you're a bit nervous. Yeah, I know. It's how I am. And I do my best. Okay? But anyway, I had a lot of fun last week. I hope you had fun as well. You had fun with the game. And funny thing, the trivia game, Ray sang he played the game and he finished second at the game. So he performed really well and he really enjoyed it. Okay? So, for this week, some few changes. The news section will happen after the interview, so I will do just a small intro like I'm doing now. And then we will have Sebastian, and then we will have the news show, and then we will have another game, a great game, okay? Let me check here on the YouTube side. It's okay, people are there on the chat. Hi James, hi Amar, hi Hannah, hi Gilton. Please say hello on the chat. I love to interact with people. And yeah, you probably wonder why I have this picture there. Okay, that's a picture from a video clip, and you will understand well, because my intro today is about back to school. Okay, back to school, because today, well, I don't know in other countries, but today was the day that almost all the kids in France went back to school. It's always a special moment. My son went to school. It was even more special because he didn't went to school since March. So it was really a huge back to school. And it's back to school for us developers as well. Most of you were on PTO, and now it's September. And usually for us developers advocates, it's also the starting of the conference season. We start to travel like crazy. Well, this year we will travel virtually, okay? And back to school, that reminds me of something else, and that will make the intro for the show. What you see here is a picture from a video clip from a band called Deftones. I really love Deftones, and they have a song called Back to School, okay? And when I was a student, I always took my iPod, you can see, that's a real iPod, old school one. And I put that song on the way to school. And it really motivated me. I can try to play a bit of it. Let me see if the sound comes through. It's pretty hardcore music. I don't know if you hear the music, but it's... Okay. So it's back to school, and you remember I saw we don't have the budget. We don't have the budget to have a band, so I'm playing the music. Last week I played a weird instrument. I promised today another weird instrument, but I'm trying something else. I will take the guitar that my daughter lent me, and I will play a small riff from Back to School from Deftones in acoustic mode and rearrange, refactored by Sebi, okay? So I don't promise anything. I had this idea this morning. I always have my crazy idea at the latest moment. So there we are going. Oh yeah, you could not hear the music. The music was... I will put the link. Oh yeah, show notes. I will tell you about the show notes right after that. Okay. But first, the intro. Go back to school. We are the leaders of all. Go back to school. We are the leaders of all. Oh, that was my intro. I was really nervous. I don't play that guitar that too much. Speaker notes. This time I will have a Google Doc and I will share it right away with you. Let me go on my other computer and find back the mouse. There I put all the interesting links. Okay, let me put the link there. And you can go in this doc and all the items from the news and the clip to the video clip of Deftones is there. Please don't click all the links because you won't pay attention on what I'm saying or what Sebastian is saying. So, but you can just go there. Let me see if people are going on it. Yeah, I see people coming there. Okay. I also had the feeling that the latency is really short today, so that is great news. But you know what? It's time for the interview. So a small jingle, and then we will go to the interview. Okay, hey Sebastian, are you there?
I am here. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, let me do the side by side. Let me just remove some banners here, over there, and there we are. I think this is the other image. Oh no, I just want to remove this video capture there. Okay, there we go. We are all set. Hey, how are you doing, Sebastian?
I'm doing well. And well, first of all, thanks a lot for the intro. I think I never got introduced by live music, like unplugged guitar session. That's super cool.
Yeah, also. Hey, and thank you for being our second guest.
Sure.
So last week was Ray, and this week is Sebastian, so it's really awesome. Let's start with the beginning, because most of people know you, but for people who don't know you, try to introduce yourself in 30 seconds.
Yes, in 30 seconds, that's probably challenging. So what I'm a Java developer, I would say, so of everything. So I am officially called developer advocate for Java. So that's basically what I do. I try to, do things with Java and get people excited about it. I try to share knowledge as much as I can. I'm usually on the enterprise Java or enterprise software space. So this is just where my background is and where I helped a lot of projects and companies doing their things. And I'm really, like a low-level tech developer person. So I love to code and I love to keep it technical. And that's what I try to share knowledge. And I really like Java. So that's usually what I'm talking about. Okay,
awesome. So you said you were you still are a developer advocate,
Yes.
like us. And with the lockdown, we could not travel anymore. How did you deal with that situation?
Yeah, that was really, that's a good question. And it was really challenging times because especially in the last years and especially last year, I traveled a lot. Also because I really enjoyed it and I really enjoyed, meeting developers in person and travel around. Also for me, for my situations, I'm just on my own. It's easy to, travel. I don't have a family yet. And, this changed a lot, especially it came so quickly, right? Like in March before the spring, conference season, started, all of the conferences immediately, in a day or two, got canceled and, then all of my calendar plans got wiped out. So how did I, adapt or change? I would say coding helped a lot. I quite quickly tried to do just some stuff online. I mean, I always try to share videos and blog posts and, have a newsletter. So I have all kinds of digital content if you want. And I just try to do more of that. But I think more for the mental well-being, I would say actually coding helped a lot. Just to, be distracted and forget about all the crazy world, what's going on. And of course, there were moments where I thought about, oh, that's so sad. Last year about this time I was in, I don't know, Latin America, United States, Japan, wherever. And now I'm just sitting in the same apartment for weeks and months and longer. So yeah. It kind of interesting, but I guess, probably coding. Just developing something that's really good. And I just keep telling myself how lucky we are as developers that, we can continue working as many people can't. And we love our job and it's really okay to leave us alone, right? To just give us some coffee and then we can just be be busy for a few hours just coding and creating some stuff. So actually, you know, I would say it this way, like in comparison, I've done like pretty well, right? Like I really don't want to complain. It was totally okay.
Yeah. And did you have the feeling to work more? Because Ray mentioned that, and to be honest, I had the feeling as well that I worked way more than in normal periods.
Yes,
I was
much more.
On the weekends, and yeah. Okay.
Yes,
so
much more.
Something...
I mean, first of all, there was the time, you know, when you know this, when you travel, you just spend a lot of time on, you know, like going on the airport and going back and forth in the hotel. So it's always a lot of like in between time that you just have to spend. Of course, you can sometimes, you know, hack in the plane and whatever, but it's not the same as if you're at home. So that is one thing where you have much more time just working. And then also, like you say, on the weekends and at night, especially during the weeks of like the total lockdown, or where here in Austria, like people really couldn't go out at all. So then you really have nothing else to do. And, you know, I spent some time in the apartment and took care of my plants and whatever and cooking or something. But at the end, I spent way more working than way more time than usual. Yeah.
I think it's a trend that we can see even, if we check on Twitter, people were not always complaining, because as you said, if you like to code, if you like your work, it's. But you have to be careful, Awesome. Just to finish on the developer advocate role, I was asked a great question last week, and I think she is on the chat, and she will recognize the question. She asked me, what did you enjoy the most as a developer advocate? If you can say only one thing.
Only one thing, especially now because I know it, I notice it, is like meeting people, especially meeting people all over the world and in person to share knowledge. This is like the best experience, especially if you feel and if you get the feedback back that you just really helped somebody, or that, you know, the person really appreciates that you're there and give a talk, or there and do some, I don't know, peer programming and just trying to share some knowledge. Especially if you then go to, you know, multiple places where somewhere in the world where you haven't been, and where maybe you meet a person where you don't even share the same native language that you speak, and then just meeting developers in person to help them and to try to share knowledge. I think that's just the best thing. I would need to name one.
I think that was what I answered, sharing the knowledge. That's, that's, as I always tell people, I wanted to be a teacher like my father. But then I preferred computers. So I went in IT. But now with conferences, webinars, videos, I'm able to share my knowledge, and more or less I'm a teacher. So
absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. Hey, let's talk tech now a bit. So You said you love Java. Are you following the crazy release train of Java and trying out all the new features that come out?
More or less, yes. I mean, I try to actually adapt quite as fast as I can, because it's really fast, to be honest. As much as I can, I just, at least if it's like fully released, the Java version, not just like a public, like a pre-release, like an early release or something, but at least the final release. I try to download and keep the latest versions, and now have many Java versions installed at the same time. And yes, I also try to keep it up for the features. So there are quite a few features that are now regularly using my code, and if it's just, you know, the list off and things like that, of the newer Java releases. And yes, I try to stay on top of it, as, you know, at least as much as possible. Of course, it's mostly about, for me, about like adding some value in business logic and, you know, implementing some the main features. But yeah, of course, it really helps, and especially it helps. So I think you don't really notice it while you're using a new feature. It just sometimes feels like, you know, some syntactical sugar or some smaller improvement. But I especially notice if you, for some reason, have to roll back. Like if you build a project and it doesn't build with the new version, then you use an older version, and then it says, hey, those 20, locations that you just wrote here and there, they don't work anymore because it doesn't exist in Java 8. And then you're like, oh, damn, that's now really annoying. And then you see, you know, the difference actually in boilerplate code or whatever. So it does make a difference. Like it's just a lot of, I would say, smaller differences now, or smaller improvements that you can just use and then add. I was actually recently thinking about records because I haven't used them in production code yet. I'm just about to actually try that out. But just last week I had a perfect book example of where records would have helped me, where I could have gone rid of a public static inner class. So yeah.
Okay.
The cool stuff happening, I would say.
After the interview, in the news section, I will talk a bit about Java 14 and 15, about records and sealed classes. And there's a great article by how is his name? The Java guru, Brian.
Brian,
I don't remember his name. Yeah. And he really make a nice example, and that's why I tried it. And I will also do a bit of live coding in a few minutes after the interview. I will show a bit records and sealed classes because nice. I was running late, to be honest. I was so busy with other stuff, more cloudy Kubernetes, Docker, Istio stuff, that I didn't follow the train of Java. So last week I say, okay, have to dive again into all these features. And I see great things. Okay, about, I mentioned cloud. I know that you give also talks about, how to use Java EE or Jakarta EE with Kubernetes, with Istio. Do you like Kubernetes? Let's start it.
Yes, actually, yes, a lot, because I see just all the benefits that otherwise you would have to do manually, and I've seen it in many projects. So it's like, of course, in the beginning it was kind of like a hype topic, but if you just ignore all the hype and say, okay, what features does it actually bring me, or more important, what is the alternative, right? Like, what do I have to do myself if I don't use it, or use a different solution? So for these reasons, yes, I'm a big fan of Kubernetes.
Okay. So if you have to pick one feature that your preferred feature of Kubernetes, what would that be?
One single feature. So I would have to decide between, first of all, just the scheduling of pods that you say, okay, give me so and so many replicas, and then just Kubernetes makes sure they end up somewhere, and you don't have to care about it. So this abstraction. Well, or probably even more the service discoverability. So the fact that you have the cluster internal service resolution, and you just say, okay, give me the coffee shop application, and then it's backed by so and so many instances, and the service does the load balancing to all of the number of replicas that you have. Because why I say this is I've seen it many times that you just had to set this up manually if you have a VM or just some root server somewhere, and then of course you always have to somewhat install Nginx or HA proxy, and then just proxy all the instances of all so and so many instances that you have, and have them in your in your round there. So it's you just see the benefits, and this is really nice in Kubernetes that you say you write this in YAML, whether or not you like YAML, but it's definitely faster than setting up your own reverse proxy or something. So I would say this is the favorite feature. This really helps.
The scheduler is just impressive. If in the beginning you don't pay attention, but if you think what happens, everything behind the scenes, and it's just magic. Okay, and the other question I also asked to Ray, if you could pick one feature for the next release of Kubernetes, and you can dream of any feature, what would that feature be?
That's a good question, especially if I say a single feature. And also since Kubernetes...
Or you can have three. You can have three. Because
three is easier. So, because in the past it would be like, some things were missing from Kubernetes. If you say you have very sophisticated enterprise applications, and you would need things like init containers, but now they're part of it. Or then you would need things like, the probes are part of it, and everything that you kind of need is almost there. What I would now mention is features that are now included in Istio, and then maybe some advanced like traffic management or like progressive delivery, canary releases features like Flagger, like Istio with the traffic management, that would be included in like the baseline of Kubernetes, right? So if you say you have some traffic management, where you can have these subsets, these multiple subsets for the routing. This is really powerful in Istio. That's probably one I would pick. I usually am not. Well, I should not say I don't care about security, but it's just not my my topic that gets me super excited. It just has to be done. I see a lot of actually interest from companies in the security part of Istio with authentication, authorization. Just include that with the mutual TLS just because it's easy in Istio. So that could be a thing. And then because it already does so much, so why not say brew coffee? So that would be a nice feature as well.
Oh yeah,
of Kubernetes. Yeah, I mean because it already does everything, right? So why not include a coffee or whatever. Cloud brew coffee, and then we have everything we need.
Yeah. And if you want to drink 4 cups of coffee, you just set a replica set for
exactly scale it up. YAML and very easy. Kube control apply coffee, and there you go.
Awesome. So that's great. You mentioned traffic management in Istio. I also really like it. I wondered, have you ever tried Knative and the traffic management that is available in Knative?
Just barely. I just barely touched it with the eventing and then the routing from Knative. Usually doing more on the Istio level side. So but just barely, I would say, so far.
Okay, because there in Knative you can define your traffic management in your Knative service YAML. So,
right.
And it's I don't know if it's as powerful as Istio, but I really like it. It's really easy. And that are the kind of feature that I would like to have in vanilla Kubernetes. But yeah.
Okay,
nice, but great. Let's cloud Java in the cloud. Is that a thing?
Java in the cloud. I would say so because I see Java in the cloud all the time. Like literally all my projects and things I do, it's basically Java in the cloud. And actually since the beginning, right? Like since cloud and cloud native got a hype and became a word, whatever. People have asked like, oh, is it even possible, Java in the cloud and it's so heavyweight and whatever. And it's like, actually, it is, if you think about it, it's way less, spectacular than you might think, right? Especially if you're running containers. It's just like, whatever you put in a container and then you put it to Kubernetes or some other container-based cloud service and then it runs in the cloud, right? Like, and the same for Java. So of course you sometimes have to pay a little bit more attention what's actually running, like what's about the threading and your resources that you consume and what about like the memory management, that it doesn't get out of memory killed and things like that. But that always happens to you, right? Like if you manage your VM, you also have to take that into consideration. So yes, I see Java in the cloud all the time. And I think it's a great solution for modern workloads, like whether or not use native features or something like Quarkus and then with GraalVM where you can then compile it down to native executable, but actually just in a JVM that all people know and love and that DevOps engineers know how to handle, like when it comes to what actually runs in production. This is a really important thing. Like, for example, when you say you have existing workloads in Java and now you want to move to Kubernetes, for example, it's really important to still know what is running under the hood inside your container to be able to troubleshoot and, look into it with your tools that and that your DevOps engineers or sysadmins or however you want to call them know about. So this is really a thing. And I think this makes a lot of sense. Consider this.
Yeah. Oh, well. I love Quarkus, but you probably know that.
Me too. Yeah, I usually run it in the JVM mode, though.
To be honest, I run it sometimes in native mode, in live demos to impress people. And also when I combine it with serverless with Knative, because the startup time is crazy, and then it makes sense.
That is true. That is really
and the other thing I like about Quarkus is that they consume a lot of the MicroProfile text. So I know you have been involved a bit with MicroProfile and Jakarta IE. Can you share your feelings about MicroProfile?
Yeah, I mean, Well, basically, how I see it, I almost always use Jakarta and MicroProfile like in combination. So when we talk about the technical side, I mean, also since MicroProfile uses Jakarta or Java EE APIs, I don't see a big distinction, right, like between them, especially for almost all my projects or everything I've done. It's like a combination of these two, right? Like, also same is true for Quarkus. It also consumes some parts of Jakarta and things like that. And if you need like persistence and transactions and all of this, then you have bits and pieces that come from Jakarta and some that are MicroProfile only. If we talk about configuration or health checks, right? So for me, it's more like a pool of technologies from which I can just pick and choose the APIs that I need for a given problem set. And then, let's take it from there. And then if we talk about the like collaboration side and standardization side, so I've been involved in some expert groups in the JCP in the past, like I helped shaping JAX-RS and JSONP and some specs. And then, of course, it's a question, okay, is some API probably better fit for MicroProfile with some, like more like faster advancement in technologies, and how can we build up things, especially for the cloud native integration, where it's standards like, I don't know, GraphQL that could evolve very quickly, and what might be better fit for Jakarta, or things like that. So that's then a different question, but I like all of these technologies in general. Why? Because it's a really high developer productivity, I would say. So the development mode with these annotation and specification, the declarative approach, that's the word. The declarative approach driven development is really productive, right? Like you write your business logic in a class and then you throw some annotations on it and you're done. And that's really nice. And, the same road goes, is true for MicroProfile. And that's just cool because, it kind of feels, familiar. So this is what I noticed when you come from a Java EE or Jakarta background. It just feels very natural for you to use some annotations. They're well nicely defined in the Java doc and MicroProfile, and then there you go. So it's quite straightforward. That's probably what I like the most about it. You can just like go and play.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned developer productivity, and I know that's a topic that you really like.
Yes.
I think you even. You give a keynote next week at Java Day Istanbul on that topic.
Exactly, yeah, at Java Day Istanbul about this topic. I have a podcast on the topic, the effective developer.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a great, an interesting topic that we can all like improve ourselves a little bit more, and using the technology or what we have more effectively.
So again, I'm going to ask you a top three. Could you give your top three of developer productivity tips?
I mean, it's top three of tips. That's a good question, because I would say there are some bigger aspects that are always true. Something like you should use automation, and so this is a very broad statement, but it holds true for if you write some scripts or some shell scripts to automate stuff, or even if you just define a few keyboard shortcuts, right? Like some keyboard shortcut or macro is also automation if you think about it, right? Like you just use the computer, you let the computer do stuff that you don't have to do manually. So I would say this is overall probably the biggest tip, and that is true for big like tasks and smaller tiny tasks, like just a small little macro instead of a mouse click. That already saves you some time. To be a little bit more detailed, what people can use shell aliases, right? Like so instead of maven clean package -d skip tests, you can say, I don't know, mcpt. And then, that expands to what you always otherwise have to write yourself, or, something like git status or git push origin master. You define some aliases for them. Some shells like Z shell or the Oh My Z shell plugin already come shipped with them. So this is a big feature. Look into bash scripts. I'm not a bash script expert at all. Like my bash script, like people would laugh about him, I guess, but it really, really helps. It's like, a tool that makes you really productive. And other than that, the third thing, maybe just once in a while, take a step back and reflect, like in general, just to see, okay, are there any tools and approaches that I could use better? Does it help to sometimes just take take a break and, can I use just some environment in a better way? What about my working setup? So, let's stop it here because you asked for 3 things and I could talk for hours about this topic as you notice.
Okay. I remember I watched a video. I think it was a stream on Twitch about tips on the shell and also a bit of bash. And you know what? I was using Zdash for maybe 4 years now, and I discovered that I didn't need to do CD to go back. To go to a folder, that I just can type the folder. I was, what?
That's actually one of my favorite features too. Just for that reason, I would switch to Z Shell because, it's really helpful.
Yeah, I didn't knew that. So I was, and now I'm using it all the time. So it's so easy. Okay, that's awesome. Let's see the time. Yeah, we are almost around. I'm checking if there are questions. There are no questions. Please, if you have questions, on the chat, just ask them. Next week you have a keynote. Do you have a busy virtual schedule for the coming months?
For the coming weeks and months, actually it's getting more busy again. So I was wondering about it, how the conference situation looks like. So still not a single in-person conference planned, but now it's getting more busy again. So, the usual season seems to continue, like in the last year. So now it's conference season again. Having a few things lined up and I'm really looking forward already. Like actually different type of formats. So it's not just online sessions. Some are sessions, but some then are, like workshops and some are like, recorded session where it's more about the interaction then where you have a big Q&A part, which is quite interesting. So, of course, interviews and interactive parts like you. I really enjoy this type of format, especially if you then, you hear some feedback by people. So, people, if you're watching something like that, always, put something in the chat, even if it's just hi from wherever you happen to live. This is really cool to see as a speaker that, you're not just talking towards a camera, but people are actually listening and watching. So that's really nice. And, and if you check Twitter today, so yes, here's my, Duke. That I can cuddle with. I don't have a cat at home, but at least I can cuddle with a plush Duke toy, which originally comes from San Francisco.
From a Java or Java 1, or how do you,
I think it was still a Java 1, when I got it. Probably the last Java 1 even back then before it was renamed. So memories. This one comes from San Francisco, traveled all the way here, and now it's supporting me on my desk.
Oh, it's a collector then. Yeah. Okay, let me see. And Alex, he was there too at the last Java 1, Alex Sutton.
Nice.
I was there too. Yeah. I was when it was still at the Hilton, and then they moved to this big place.
Moscone, only the Moscone West.
Yeah, Moscone, exactly. Yeah. So,
now it feels like ages ago, doesn't it?
Exactly. And I have no idea when we will be able to go back there. But as you said, we are able to do online events. There's the chat. As you said, it's so important that people interact on the chat. Back in April, we did a lot of master courses and you could see the same people coming back on the chat, and I can see here DJ Maddie. He's here every time, and it's awesome. And we started to build a community in the chat.
Nice.
And when you see people chatting together, not really talking about your topic, but about other things as well, just like at a conference, then it's really awesome, I think. At least that replaced the hallway that we all miss, I think. So, okay, hey, let me see, no questions. So I think we can, DJ Mehdi said, a meeting in person will be really funny. Yeah. Well, one day we can make it happen. DJ Mehdi is in Austria, so we can do that. Oh, and James say you should do it next week in the pool. Yeah, because I have a pool. They all want me to do the show from the pool. Maybe I can arrange that. But it's getting colder here since a few days. Since 2 days, it's cold. I don't know how the weather is.
Be more worried about the water, like not getting your equipment wet.
Yeah, the equipment. Yeah, that's another story. Yeah. Hey, anyway, Sebastian, thank you so much. It was really, really interesting. People, I will share in the notes. I didn't put it there, but I will share your Twitter account for people who don't know you. I think in your Twitter you point to your blog, probably. Mm-hmm. There are also tons of info to find. All these videos about productivity. Thank you again. And I hope we cross our roads virtually maybe soon. Yeah, well, next week I will be at Java Day Istanbul as well. So
well, there we go. Then we see each other virtually.
Then we see each other
thanks
there.
a lot for having me on the show. That's super cool.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Bye then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay then, so that was super, super cool. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Let me remove the banner. So this time what I also try to do is have a bit less of buttons and banners because that drove me crazy. And I checked oh, Anna, I'm only here to see the cats. Yeah, I can try to do that, but that's a challenge. I have 5 cats. I can probably try to do it. And then just in time for the game, just in time for the news. So we will share some news. I will do it a different way this time. And then we will play an awesome game, okay? Let me drink some water. And let me put the jingle of the news. And there we go for the news. Hey, welcome back everyone. So this week, I forgot my notes. Let me pick up my notes. Let me see. Let me see. Tabs, these spaces. You will know the truth. You have to come back next week probably for the show. Okay? Let me skip this one as well. And let me, this one. Data is king. Data is eating the world. Okay? And that will go also with, I think, this note here. Kafka news. Because you all probably know last week was Kafka Summit. Okay? And the big event around Kafka. The week before it was KubeCon. This week it was the summit of Kafka. And there were a lot of announcements. And like last week, I won't just tell you all the announcements. There's a great blog post. You can find the link in the show notes, and you are seeing that here. And what was, let me go on my browser. That will be easier for me. And what, he mentioned some keynotes. We will talk about the keynotes. He mentioned also this talk here. So he said, I saw a bit of Kate Stanley and Grace Jensen talk on the reactive Apache Kafka. And to be honest, I really advise you to go to this talk. It was really a great talk. If you want to understand a bit how you can combine Kafka with your reactive code, and especially with your Java reactive code, well, this session is really great because they explain all the basic concepts, and because we know reactive is not that easy to understand, okay? But anyway, there was one theme that we could extract from this summit was the data. And that makes sense because, Kafka is about data, okay? And speaking about the keynotes, and this was the first keynote from Sam Newman, and he made a really great keynote around the tyranny. I don't know if I said correctly, the tyranny of data, okay? La tyrannie in French. And speaking about the fact that data is critic for us. It's all our business value is inside our data. This is pretty obvious. But what we did, we put all this data in huge databases and we built services around it. And the data lives only in one place and we consume it and we work for the data. And it should be the opposite. Data should work for us. It should be floating around between our services. And that is the keynote of Sam Newman. He explained how Kafka can help creating these rivers of data between your microservices. And he also explained how you can slowly migrate from the monolith database approach to a more approach where your data is spread through your different services. And I was really, really happy because he mentioned one project that I really like, which is called Debezium. It's sponsored by Red Hat, and it's led by the awesome Gunnar Morling. So Debezium project, if you don't know it, the link is in the show notes, of course. It's basically like a sidecar application that you can put in front of all your application, and you point that to a database, and it will capture all the events that happen in your database when there's an insert, a delete, and Debezium captures that and can throw that back to your application on a topic, on a Kafka topic, and this way it's quite a good tool to if you want to migrate to this new approach of handling data. Also in the keynote from Sam Newman, he mentioned that for sure you still will have a database, but it should have a different role. The database should have data only for reporting, for instance, okay? And in the game that we will play in a few minutes, you will see exactly this. It's a game completely articulated around Kafka, and we have one database that's for the leaderboard to show the scores. Okay, so you will see that live in a few seconds. Let me go back to my links. We had another keynote here about from Jay Krebs saying the title was Kafka Loves the Cloud. Okay. Well, we love the cloud as well at Red Hat, and we love Kafka. So that's a great keynote to watch. But since he mentioned the cloud and Kafka, I really want you to remind you about this project. And we had talks during Kafka Summit on this project as well, which is called Streamz. So Streamz is the operator, the project to run Kafka on Kubernetes in a few minutes. And believe me, it's really in a few minutes, okay? Let me see here. I got a cluster here. That's my cluster, and I can probably create just a new project to show something like that. Okay, I create my project, so it creates a namespace. There we are. And then I can apply an operator. And here I'm using the Kubernetes from Red Hat, OpenShift, and we have this operator hub, which makes it really, really easy. So if I type here Streamz, for instance, Streamz, there we go. I got Streamz, and I can just install Streamz, okay? It's already installed because I'm on the, oh yeah, I was planning to install that for you, but I just installed it before. But believe me, here you get uninstall, but it will just be install, and you will have the operator ready in your cluster. And once you have that, when you go there, okay, if you go to your installed operators, let me show you that, installed operators, you get Streamz, and here you have something like create instance of Kafka, and you just click there, and it creates for you a Kafka instance. It proposes you how many instances you want. I want 3 brokers, etc. I just press create, and you have your Kubernetes cluster running. So it's so easy. Streamz, you can also use that on locally on your Minikube. You just apply the operator, and you will be able to deploy Kafka on your Minikube in no time. Okay, let me double check if everything is going right here. I say, oh, Alex, yeah, no PHP news. Max, it's almost time for the show, the JBanks show. So, data. Last week we didn't speak too much about Java, so I want to make that different. And as I said in the interview, I was left a bit behind with the latest Java releases, so I read some articles last week about all the new features that are coming. And this really great article that you can find, of course, in the show notes, written by Brian Goods, in the key takeaways, that was really what I saw. Data-centric form of programming. So a lot of the new features are, again, around data. Data is king. And all these new features are to design your domains, your classes, really domain data-centric, okay? So instead of going through this article, what I really would like to do now is show you two of these features, so records and sealed classes. But yeah, I know it's a show, it's not a webinar, but for once we will do some live coding, okay? Are you ready for a really short session of live coding? Okay, there we go. Okay, let's do some live coding. And if you wonder how all this magic happens, what I will show you, stay on, because I will talk a bit about here. You already have here you can see some tips. Oh, wrong hand. Okay, there. Okay, but let me go to, you will see here on the right side a classic Java. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. A classic Java class called pet. Okay, and it has a name, an age, a public constructor, setters, getters, and a toString. And then what I do just a var pet new pet, and I print it out. And because I have a toString, just show me the content of this class. Okay, and so if I run this JVang report, okay, there we go. We should see it. Let me make sure you are seeing it. And okay, awesome system found out Nuage. So that is one of my cats. And he's 6 years old, okay? But all this code, which is pretty simple and we are really used to do it, is quite a lot of code, okay? It would be nice if we could make it more concise, more centric on the data, okay? So what I'm going to do here is just to remove all of this. There we go. Let me go up here and replace class with record. And here I say my pet, he has a name, int, an age. Okay, so here I'm using a new type, which is called record. Oh, if I remove that, record, okay. It's available in Java 14, enable layman only in preview mode. So you have to pass these options. Again, if you're wondering how this magic happened, JVang, and I will tell more about JVang just after. And look, that should be enough for me. Let me see. And I save that, and now I run my class again. There we go. And there we see, hey, pet, name Nuage, age 6. So that means you see all the code that I could removed? It's just this line. And I get my setters, getters, my toString, everything. Okay? So if you want to make your code more readable, really centered on data, records are really a great thing. Second thing that will are sealed classes. Okay, sealed classes is something that is only available in Java 15 in preview mode. And by the way, Java 15 is coming out this month, but you can already download some stuff, a beta GDK. Okay. And what I have here, well, I'm using a record again, because now you know about the record, but here I'm creating an interface shape. But look at this. I'm using another another new keyword called sealed. And here in my interface, I say this interface permits circle and rectangle. That means that only circle and a rectangle can implement this class. Okay? If I do a record pet and I do string name, let's just do the name and implement shape. Okay, and let me save that. Okay, let me save that and let me JVang sealed. There we go. JVang sealed. There we go. And we should have some warnings. Yeah, I'm not really sure about those warnings, but here, look. Oh, yeah. that's a syntax error. That was not the error I wanted to show you. Implements shape. There we go. Let's do it again. That was not what I wanted to show you. We are almost there. Yeah, can you see it here? Yeah, and you see just above my head there, class is not allowed to extend sealed class. So if you want to have your boundaries really well set, combined with records, well, this is a really cool feature. And you can combine that with another new feature which has been added in Java 14, I think, where you can do really nice instance of. So let me just uncomment that. Wow. So what you can do here is I get my shape, and you can say if my shape, let me also do this, otherwise, if my shape is the instance of a circle, and I bound here circle to C, the compiler already knows that shape is a circle and will bound it to C. I can just do system out C just radius, okay? Let me do that. These are the examples I took from the article that you can find back in the show notes. Okay, let me save that. Okay, and there we go. Sealed. Oh, and it's already running late. Oh, crazy. I lost a lot of time. Okay, how does this magic happen? This magic happened because of this awesome project. Okay, JBang, the link is in the show notes. JBang, you just download it, you install it, and then you write your script to specify which Java version you want, which dependencies. You can put that all in your script, and then you just type JBang, my script, and it runs. It's an awesome project, written by Max. Max is there, here in the chat, I saw that. I wanted to show you something else, but I don't have time because I want to keep time for the game, because we are really late. But JBang is a really cool feature. Okay, it's time for the game. So let's play the game now. Okay, I'm back here, and I still have my stuff open here. Let me just remove the banner. We will play a game today called Guess the Price. Guess the Price, okay? Guess the Price. We had the game in France, we call it Le Juste Prix, and we have to guess the price, okay? Like all the other games, it's running on OpenShift. Red Hat developed that, part of our team developed that, and there's really a lot of technology involved. There's a Kafka cluster, there's some artificial intelligence, there's Quarkus, of course. We are using web project. Let me just go to workloads. If I go to pods, and let me just show all the pods that are running in this project. So we have a lot of stuff, a lot of great technology, okay? I'm going to share a link with you, and we will have, 5 minutes to play the game, but that's a good thing because Burr told me this game is around 6 minutes long, so, perfect timing. So, let me share a link with you. I'm going to share this with you, so the game link, there we go. Let me go to the chat here. Okay, if everyone can click on the link, maybe Burr, you should paste that on Twitch, because we have people watching us on Twitch as well, on Facebook as well, I think. And we will start the game soon, okay? I don't know how many people are there. Let's take a few other seconds. You can join later, it doesn't matter. What will happen is that you will see some items. Okay, let me, and I just realized that I'm not showing you the game. Let me go back here and let me share that on, I'm going to show you the leaderboard because that is what is important. Leaderboard, there we go. Okay, are you all ready to play the game? You will see an item and you have to guess the price. You have to put the numbers correctly by sliding them. You will see it's pretty easy to do. Okay, are you all ready? The game will start soon, and the game is about to start now. Okay, so you should see, and let me open this maybe as well. Let me open a game as well, so I can play with you. Okay. Oh, I see a lot of people playing already. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let me see here. Okay. I just played this one. 0, 0, 0. Yay! Okay, let's take a look at the leaderboard. Wow, a lot of people. Translucent Snake is leading right now. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's take a pause for a moment. So the game will be paused for you. Let me pause. Okay. Let me check a bit the leaderboard. Oh yeah, I cannot see the leaderboard when it's paused. Okay. I should have noticed that before. But are you ready? We are trying something else now. Now you will have to draw with your finger or your mouse the numbers to guess the right thing. Okay? So I'm going to start the game again. And now it will be in a different mode, bonus mode. So now you have to draw with your finger. So the t-shirt, for instance. Oh, I can give you a tip. I think it's 8, the first one. Yes. And then I leave you the other one. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. Wow, we have Glimmer Condor. That is just same score as Regal Lantern, Destiny Oriole. Okay, there we go. Ooh, it's going to be really hard. Let me see. Oh, we have a new leader. Prism Seed. Okay, and let me go back now to normal mode. We are almost back to normal mode. And let me go back here. Pause again. Now we're going back to normal mode. Okay, and we have a few items left, I think. And let me see. Here's the leaderboard. Nimblewing is... Oh no, Prism Seed is again the first one. Are you almost ready? We will stop the game in 10 seconds. Okay, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we stop. Okay, let's see who was the winner. I can see it here probably. Oh no, the leaderboard. I cannot see who was the winner. Well, the winner was number 29. We don't see the name here. Okay, I have to check that with the team. But with a lot of points. Awesome, that is really a lot of points, I think. You enjoyed that game? Keep in mind, there are some amazing technologies. Maybe in one show we will talk about how we made these games, okay? And we will be able to play it again next month. So next week we will have another game, another interactive game, okay? And then this game will come back. It's already the end of the show. I have to leave because right after the OpenShift stream is starting with 3 different streams. I really hope you enjoyed the show. I had a lot of fun. Next week, our guest will be Brian Vermeer from SNCC. So we will talk a lot about security, Java security. Okay? Don't forget to follow our YouTube channel. Follow me here on Sebi2706. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a great week. And see you next week. Bye-bye.